Welcome to the second episode of the Four Out One In podcast with your host George Hamilton III.
And Carlos Costas.
How you doing, bro?
I'm good. First thing I want to say is happy belated birthday to my
Thank,
co-host George over here, the big
thank
2-1. What'd you do? I know the fam came in town, but give us a
fam.
little bit.
Fam came in town Thursday. I hung out with them. We went to dinner Thursday. Friday, I had class. Didn't really hang out with them as much. Uh, did my own thing. Saturday, they took me and my roommates to lunch. And then we went to the DC United game. I'm a big soccer fan, as you can tell by my jersey. My Sounders are playing right now as we speak. So we went to the DC United game versus Atlanta. DC took a loss, but the game was fun. Experiencing a soccer game with my parents once again after not experiencing it in a while. And then Sunday, I think I just stayed home. I didn't really do much besides like watch basketball. And then Monday they left, and pretty much on my birthday, I just went to class, came back, did some homework, watched the national championship, and that was pretty much it. Oh, and got myself something to eat, but nothing special, nothing special.
Shout out, shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Hamilton. We love you. You're the best. Raised a fine young man over here.
Yep. Glory to God. I mean, I am proud of the man I've become and still trying to become. But if it wasn't for them, I honestly wouldn't know where I'd be today. So I thank them with all my heart. I guess we
Love
can
to hear that.
I guess we can transition into last Final Four. I know you watched since I was at the soccer game. I'm pretty sure you watched the Duke North Carolina game and Villanova Kansas games. What did you see in both of those?
Um, I think UNC. We'll go to that game first. Um, that was a very hard fought game to say the least. I think that game being as tough as a game, just on both sides, for Carolina kind of showed in the championship game. I know you noticed it too to the championship game that UNC came out looking pretty fatigued, pretty banged up. And Armando Bacot injuring himself during that game was monumental to the championship game and Carolina losing it. Um, I know that story all too well. You know, my Gonzaga Bulldogs look a little rough, look fatigued as well. So I know what that feels like. I feel for all you Tar Heel fans out there. Don't worry. Then on the other side, uh, Villanova. I mean, I they couldn't hit a shot. In the first half, they were shooting terrible. Um, they just looked so out of sync offensively. I don't know uh, what it was because that's a very veteran team. I don't want to say it's jitters. Um, I mean, that team is as deep as any other team in the tournament. Maybe it's because they're missing Justin Moore, but I don't know. But shout out to Colin Gillespie, amazing career at Villanova. He's going to go down as one of the greats to play at that school. Uh, and then on the flip side, Kansas, um, McCormick looked as good the entire season as he did in the Final Four. Christian Braun, kind of solid. Like if I had to put his performance in the tournament, just solid. Abaji, Remy Martin came off the bench. I think that game came off the bench, torched. He killed. As much as it hurts me to say that, uh, Remy Martin in a Kansas jersey, I wasn't a big fan of to start the year, but it paid off in the end. Um, so you want to give your thoughts on the championship game?
Yeah. I mean, I was going for UNC just because I mean I have like two Jordan UNC jerseys. So I was like, and they have Hubert Davis as a coach. So I was rooting for them. First half, they came out on all cylinders. I mean, RJ Davis and Caleb Love, they weren't hitting their shots, but I mean the rest of the team was doing what they needed to do to step up in their absences, quote unquote. But one player I was surprised by was Puff Johnson off the bench. He played heavy minutes that I don't think anyone was used to seeing him play, but he showed up and did what he needed to do. And the first half, I mean, I'm not I'm not one to say that I thought the game was over, but I was like, UNC, if they just drop off just a little bit, they'll still like coast to a win. It'll like Kansas will end up coming back, but they'll and make a game, but like UNC would still be able to win the game. But I could tell like early in that second half, the fatigue kind of started setting in from all of those close games they played. And Kansas just took them out in the second half, like just moved the pace. They changed the pace of the game, made it more fast paced compared to the half court that UNC is likes to run a lot. And Jalen Wilson and David McCormick did what they needed to do in the absence of Agbaji, who kind of struggled in that game, to be honest.
Yeah, I think definitely Carolina is more of a grit and grind type of team. They're not going to burn you in transition or anything. And Kansas took advantage of that, knowing that they've been through a tough stretch of games recently, and they're all banged up and fatigued and tired and everything. And then yeah, Jalen Wilson stepped up, hit some big shots in the second half. McCormick, you knew that they were going to go to him and just work down low. I think Carolina played a great game. I think Hubert Davis coached as best as he could in that. And yeah, I was surprised just as much as you were with Puff Johnson. You knew Caleb Love was going to come to play, RJ Davis, Brady Manick, Armando Bacot, and not saying anything that those four can't win you a game, because they definitely can, and they have been. But I knew there was going to be one player on that team that was going to, almost kind of take that next step, or the jump in the game on the big stage. And I thought it was going to be Leaky Black. But Puff Johnson, I mean, what did he throw up on the floor? Do you see that?
Yeah.
He took like a hit in the stomach, was like throwing up on the floor, and everything. So credit to him. And then on the Kansas side, yeah, Abaji definitely struggled, but Wilson came up big. I think Remy Martin controlled for Kansas, kind of was the leader of that team, definitely, for sure. Can we talk about the last like couple possessions real quick?
Yeah, you start. Go ahead.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. I think Caleb Love, I can't remember the time on it, but it was like the first three he tried.
Oh, at the end of the game?
Before the whole, yeah, but it was before like the out of bounds call that they had to look back, and before I can't remember if it was before or after Bacot went down, but you knew during that stretch the ball was going to go in his hands, and good call. He hit a tough shot against Duke, same spot, to get there too. And then Bacot going down, man, once I saw him go down, I was like, nah, that's it. He's done for the game. And like you had to have known that they're going to give the ball to McCormick. I don't know if Brady Manick, I guess he was the biggest guy on the court at the time, but I don't know if you double it, if you just double on entry before. I don't know what the call was there, but you knew McCormick was going to get it, and he's been so comfortable in the post. You kind of knew that was going to seal the deal. What about what do you think on those two plays?
The Bacot injury, as soon as I saw him like go down, and I thought he was going to stay down, and then I see him limping back on one leg, like jumping. I was like, there's no way like he's going to be able to guard McCormick if they give him the ball. So I was like really shocked that the refs like kind of stopped it, because I had never seen anything like that before, but it made sense because it would have been an unfair advantage. And then as soon as he went out, as I expected, Kansas just gave the ball to McCormick down low, and he hit the hook shot. And then I was surprised on the last possession before the out of bounds play. I think that was on Harris. Love shot that three with like 17 seconds left, which I was very shocked, because I was like, they have enough time to just get it early too, and then just play the foul game for as long as you can. And the Love shot, I was like, he could have either gotten early two or gotten a better look. And I was like, okay, maybe that's it. And then the Harris out of bounds play happened. And then the shot he took at the end of the game, which kind of gave Kansas the national championship. I think he could have the play could have been drawn up a little bit better if I'm being honest, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. Hold up before we go on. I have like one thing to say. You look at the replay, Armando Bacot, that the floor definitely moved. The floor definitely collapsed a little bit when he took that step on his right ankle.
Really?
Yeah, watch it in replay in slow motion. I'll send you the video after this. But you see him, he gets it like top of the key, takes his dribble through the lane. Once his right foot plants, you see the floor like dip a little, and his foot stops on the floor while the floor dips, and that's what his momentum just kept going off his ankle. And I was talking to one of my friends while I was watching it, and he asked me, he was like, um, it's crazy like that they're playing on like an elevated floor. It's like a stage.
Mhm.
And I was like, I think they've been doing it for a while in the Final Four. And then he was like, he like joked around saying like, oh, like it's like a stage. Like, what if it like breaks or something? And then, I mean, you didn't see it in the moment, but on the replay, you definitely see the floor move a little bit. Um,
Okay.
maybe the floor cost Carolina a championship. Who knows? Um, but yeah, shout out to Armando Bacot. Getting back on defense is crazy. He was definitely thugging it out the whole game, and I'm sure if Davis wanted to put Bacot in the last minute, he would have thugged it out too. And then I had a couple thoughts on just Carolina's last couple possessions because I really do not think like the first Caleb Love three like in the like under 1 minute. Sure, give it to him because he hit one in Duke. It's March. People get hot. I don't know. People just make some miraculous shots. But the last couple where they were just, I think he had a shot, uh, came off the board, got tipped like top of the key. Puff Johnson got it with like 9 seconds left, threw it up again, and then that was when Brady Manick caught the ball, threw it out of bounds. That
Oh
that
yeah.
whole possession. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, whatever, Caleb Love shot, that's fine. Like get a board, like taking the shot that early. Honestly, I don't know what Hubert Davis called, but like you kind of understand just throwing it up, get a rebound foul, play that whole game. But that's what I was wondering. Why did Puff Johnson take that shot with 9 seconds? You got an offensive board, a chance to tie it, but he throws it contested, top of the key, off balance, his left foot in front as a right-handed shooter. I was like, what kind of shot? Like, luckily Brady Manning got the rebound, and I feel bad for him because that pass would have been there if Leaky Black in the
Mhm.
corner, that would have been there. But I just want to know if Hubert Davis called for just gave all of them the green light and was like, if this goes down, we're gonna foul, get the ball back again, or players just took it upon themselves because I honestly couldn't tell. It looked like
Mhm.
the players either gave themselves the green light or Davis just gave them the green light, regardless. But yeah, credit to Kansas. I mean, yeah, credit to Kansas. I think they played a great championship game. Um, I don't know how you feel about this, but there's some controversy talking about Kansas having a cakewalk to the national championship. Um,
Cakewalk? I mean, as they say, you play the people you play the people that you face. So like, I mean, cakewalk, I mean, what? They were the number 3 ranked team at the end of the year. Uh they played primarily, I would say their toughest opponent was that's actually interesting. I don't know if it was actually, I don't know. Maybe I don't think it was a cakewalk, but I mean, maybe they were just ready. Maybe Bill Self just had them ready to play and it showed out on the court. I mean, you can't really say they had a cakewalk when they are beating teams by like 15 plus points and then beating Villanova by 15 in the final four. So I mean, you can't really say it's a cakewalk if they actually are beating good ranked teams at the end of the tournament. So
I mean, I'm not one to call it a cakewalk because I think winning 5 games in a tournament style like that, or 6 games, however many it is tough in itself. Just winning that many games, regardless of the opponent, um, I think that's a tough feat in itself. But my only thing is that if Kansas played that Baylor team that won last year, Baylor by like 30. That's what
yeah,
I think. Like they're the champions. Are they the best champions in previous years? Um, I mean, that's not really a question that matters too much, but it kind of relates to the whole cakewalk thing. But um, Carolina came to play. All I have to say is I told you so. To everyone I talked to about the tournament and asked who I got in this game and that game, I told Carolina look every part of a national championship team. Called her from the beginning to the very end. But yeah, congrats to Kansas, congrats to Bill Self. It pains me to say that Kansas Jayhawks are NCAA champions, but here it is.
speaking of that, did you want to talk about did you catch any of the women's Final Four?
Yeah, I did actually. I want to shout out to Coach Don Staley, Aaliyah Boston, whole South Carolina team. I did catch it a little bit. I think UConn was pretty solid in that game. I honestly did not expect them um, to beat who they played Stanford, right?
Stanford, yeah, in the Final
Yeah,
Four.
I didn't think that they were going to beat Stanford. I thought we were going to have a Stanford Carolina matchup, but I mean, you can never count UConn out of any tournament game, especially with Gino coaching. You never count them out. Um, but yeah, I mean, South Carolina is as good as it gets, man. What,
Yeah.
what do you have to say on this?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I almost turned the game off once I saw it was like 18 to like 6 or something like that in the first quarter. But I mean, I kept watching, but I was like, if this gets out of hand, they're like, it might be going on. It might be turned off. But UConn kind of was hanging in there. Paige, did her thing. Easy Fudd and Kristen Williams, they kind of struggled in that game. So that was a little bit surprising to me because I kind of thought they would play a lot better than they did. And I kind of think that was the reason why UConn was down by so much early on was because they were struggling and Paige was kind of doing everything. And credit to South Carolina. I mean, Aaliyah Boston, Destiny Henderson, and the rest of the squad, like they had all the makings of a national championship team, especially after what happened last year with Aaliyah Boston
Mhm.
missing that game tying shot versus Stanford, and all the emotion that came after that shot. So it was their year. They made it their destiny to win this national championship.
Yeah, I saw this video where they were like showing clips of her crying after she missed that
Mm-hmm.
shot to now crying being a national championship or national champion. I think well deserved. It was about time. National Player of the Year. She deserves it and everything. I was gonna say something else. I'd lost my train of thought.
Well, with that, you want to transition into the NBA?
Yeah, this WNBA thing will come to me in a
Oh,
second. If I say it out randomly, just know that I lost it. I was gonna say it, but
actually, before we transition into the NBA, I saw this one thing on Twitter that was going around today, and you being the resident Gonzaga Bulldog, I want to get your thoughts on like if you would be okay with Gonzaga playing in the Big East and moving out of the West Coast Conference.
so here's the thing. I've had many conversations um, around with multiple people, um, and the reason, like, if you look at academics aside, I mean, sports athletics aside, purely looking at academics and like the college we fit the WCC mold. We're not the biggest school. We're not like a research school. We're more of like a liberal arts school. We're a Jesuit school. We don't really fit in with the Pac-12 big public universities, things like that. I mean, I guess the competition in the Big East for sure, I would say is better, but I don't want to say that and knocking the WCC because, I mean, this year they've been as good. This is like the best year for the WCC, I think, sending as many teams to the tournament and everything. But playing in the Big East, I mean, you can imagine. I think that would be so crazy. Playing like Providence, Villanova. I think definitely like those schools I can definitely see. Like I think Gonzaga, as again going back to the whole private Jesuit school type thing, I think we definitely fit closer to like a Villanova than we would like a UCLA, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But moving to the Big East, I think that is never going to happen. But it'd be fun to imagine us playing in the Big East, and I think we would still run through the Big East. Come after me. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, when I first saw the rumors of that flying around, I was like, I don't know how they would schedule it because that would just be a lot of traveling for all the teams involved, just for like you guys going from the West Coast to the East Coast and sort of the Midwest, if you want to call it that, if you want to say that, and then from all those Eastern Conference and Midwest schools coming to the West Coast to the Pacific Northwest. Like, I mean, the traveling would be outrageous, but it would be interesting to see how it would work out because I think the competition would be off the charts.
Definitely, but if you were to say, yeah, we play in a better conference with like better competition, would that change our like record of being consistent one seeds and having success in the tournament? I don't think it would change. Maybe it would get us more battle tested for March following conference play and everything. But I don't know, man. I just think the WCC is very slept on. I don't think the gap is as big as people like to say it is, of competition wise. Yeah, we're still running through the Big East. I think we're going to give Villanova a run for its money if that ever happened.
All right. Well, we'll transition into the NBA and starting off, we can start off with our team that's playing right now. The Clippers what was that, Tuesday or last Thursday, whatever day it was. PG made his return and dropped 34 points in a comeback win over the Utah Jazz. And did you watch the highlights of that? Because I know we were talking after the game went off. So
yeah, I didn't get to watch the game because I had some other stuff going on, but I did watch the highlights. I mean, man, I missed watching PG play. He's so smooth. He makes everything look so effortless. I mean, amazing game, 34, 2-6, great efficiency, first game back, leading his team to a comeback win. One of the biggest comeback deficits of the season. And that just goes to show why the Clippers have been good. They've been a team that you can't really count out going into the playoffs and being a playoff team, even without PG and without Kawhi. So, I mean, how did he look for you? I know you watched the whole game and kind of talk about what you saw from even the Jazz perspective, blowing a lead that big.
all right. So watching that game, I knew PG. I mean, after having a 3-month layoff, fighting for a playoff spot, he knew he had to come out and show out. He did, getting to his spots on the floor, 6 and 9 from the 3-point from the 3-point land. And as I've heard a lot of people say, he's arguably one of the best shooters of all time, just off volume and percentage wise. And he literally was getting to his spots at will. Royce O'Neal, the Utah Jazz's best defender, couldn't stop him. And even when he was driving to the rim, Rudy Gobert, he would challenge, but Paul George was still able to get a bucket. I don't know if you saw that play where at the end of the fourth, well, not at the end of the fourth quarter, but in the middle part of the fourth, when we were mounting our comeback, I think we are down like 9. The Ty Lue off the inbounds, he ran that play with Hartenstein and PG, and Hartenstein threw the lob, but it was too far. It was too far for PG to like actually catch it and like lay it up. So Hartenstein cut to the basket and PG threw it right back to him for the layup. That like showed Paul George's like willingness to like his playmaking ability, because to make that play off like that takes a lot of athleticism. And I remember when the whole injury, him with USA, like a lot of people were like, oh, he might not have that same athleticism that he once had. But to see him make plays like that after that type of injury is still like amazing. And honestly, from the Utah Jazz perspective, I don't know. I mean, they just not even a few days late, not even what 5 days later, they blew a lead to the Warriors when they were up 8. They were up like 16 with like 7 minutes left, and they literally didn't score a basket. They scored, I think they scored one free throw in like the last 5 minutes of the game. And then after that game, apparently they held like a players only meeting, and like Donovan Mitchell, the stats came out where it was like Donovan Mitchell only passes the ball to Rudy Gobert twice during the entire season, or averages 2 passes to Rudy Gobert this entire season. And then I saw an interesting stat where it was like Joe Ingles, obviously who doesn't play for the Jazz anymore. He passed the ball to Rudy Gobert, I think 174 times. And then Donovan Mitchell has only passed it to Rudy 151. And then when you look at highlights of the Clipper game, of them playing the Clippers and the Warriors, you can kind of see, and Donovan Mitchell is like one of my favorite players to watch, to be honest. But you can kind of see there's something going on there, because Donovan Mitchell, or not Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert will seal off a guard that is guarding him, and Donovan Mitchell won't even look his way, which is very telling of what is going on in that locker room, because Rudy Gobert could easily be averaging 20 and 15 just based off the opportunities he would get if he would get those passes down low on a switch.
Yeah, I think that stat you're talking about with Joe Ingles, I think that was comparing Joe Ingles passing to Donovan Mitchell this season alone, and the man got traded. And Donovan, I feel like it wasn't even the season. I think this was like over some span. I couldn't remember, but either way, it's a crazy stat. And just being as, I guess, like ball dominant as Donovan Mitchell, and him, he was he was like a leading scorer playoff team for the Jazz's rookie year. Like he's gonna have the ball in his hands, and I think it is on him and his responsibility to pass up the ball or give it where he sees fit to make a play. You can't be the best player on the floor and not, trust your teammates. It's not how it is. And I agree with you. I think Rudy Gobert should be more of an offensive threat. And again, but partially not his fault for not getting the ball. I'm not saying he should be your 2 option scoring wise on a championship team, but he should definitely be getting the ball in the post more, taking advantage of switches. And even then, I think just even from a defensive standpoint, like that translates to offensive, he positions himself so well. Again, like you said, sealing off switches, off pin downs. I mean, he gets himself to his spots in the post. People are they're just not giving him the look. And this begs the question, George, do you break them up? Do you break up the Donovan and Rudy pairing?
Before I answer that, I wanted to make a note that if you look at some of those, I mean, Rudy obviously isn't the best offensive player. As I always say, he's a modern day DeAndre Jordan from 2015. he doesn't have the best offensive game, but when he sails down low, literally under the basket, you get him the ball. But to answer your point, do you break them up? I said after the choke job against us last year, they should have broken them up because something was wrong. Uh, I don't, to be honest, if I'm being completely honest, they are sitting in what, the fifth seed, if I'm not mistaken, or sixth seed. If they don't get one of those top four seeds, whether it's third, fourth, fifth, or whether it's third or fourth, I don't see them beating Golden State, and I don't see them beating Dallas just because Luka Doncic, Steph Curry are going to attack that are going to attack the defense, and they're either they're gonna make Rudy switch on to the guards, or like the guards are going to get like destroyed offensively by Steph. Jordan Poole, by the way, is playing really well at after as of so oh my gosh, can't speak, as of late. And like I just don't see them, especially with the guys they have on that roster. As I've said, Donovan Mitchell is he. I mean, he does play make. I'm not gonna say he doesn't, but none of those guys outside of Donovan Mitchell and Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson can really create their shot. And to be honest, in the playoffs, those guys have to be firing on all cylinders because you can't have a bad game from Jordan Clarkson. You can't have a bad game from Mike Conley. Bojan Bogdanovic, you can't have a bad game from, because those guys don't really provide much of defense on the other side of the ball. So it's like they have to be firing on all cylinders in order for the Utah Jazz to actually have a chance.
Yeah, I think they should have. It's been time to break those two up. But the way I see it is that I don't think that they should be considered a duo, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I mean, aside from the stat that we said earlier, they are not like, they don't play off of each other at all on the offensive side and the defensive side for that matter. Rudy's called out Donovan for not playing defense, whether he said his name or not. We know it's Donovan.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's time to break them up. I think, I hate to say it because I'm not comparing the two players, but like it's like I don't even want to say it because I'm gonna piss some people off. My brain just works differently, but I'm gonna just say it. I'm thinking of like every championship team has had two, or like just at least more than one, like scorer. And I don't mean like a Kevin Durant type, like two guys that are gonna give you like 30 every single night. I'm talking like the first thing that came to mind to me was the Bucks, right?
Yeah.
Like Drew, Giannis, Chris Middleton. I don't even know how to articulate what I'm about to say without saying something wrong or something that I don't mean to actually say. But take this with a grain of salt. Just try to get into my mindset here. Yes, Giannis had a 50 ball, right? But Giannis is not the quote unquote scorer that you would want on your team. I think that goes to Chris Middleton. If you get what I'm saying by scorer, right? And I think even then, Giannis at times, I'm not talking about the championship, I'm talking about it just in general. At times, that second guy, it could be Chris Middleton, it could be Drew Holiday. It could be Drew Holiday, it could be Chris Middleton. Sometimes Giannis is not even in the two, right? That pains me to say because the man is like third in scoring, like top three in scoring. Had a 50 ball in a closeout game in the finals. So I'm not comparing Rudy Gobert's offensive game to Giannis. Giannis is one of the greatest players of all time, regardless. Top 10. I think he's going to finish top 10 ever. Different story. But I'm saying for the Jazz, not even just the duo, I think if they want to build a championship team, they're going to need another scorer. And they cannot rely on Rudy to provide offense, if that makes sense. Like, don't set him to the expectation that he's going to give you an easy 20 in any playoff series, because, I mean, he hasn't really showed up like that. You know what he's going to get on the defensive end, but I'm just saying from a roster building standpoint, you've had elite scorers. You've had Chris Middleton, elite scorer, Drew Holiday, like elite scorer, Giannis, elite scorer, right? You've had Bron and AD, right? You had who was before that? You had, I guess that's almost like a three-headed monster, almost like a Giannis, Drew, Chris situation. I'm talking Kawhi. I'm talking Kyle Lowry, Pascal. You've always had like a three for any good championship team, right? It's always been a three. You've had two pretty good scores. Another guy is going to come out, maybe torch you a couple games, right? And when I look at this roster, Donovan Mitchell could be a one option on that type of team. Mike Conley, no. Jordan Clarkson, no. Right? So I always see it like offensively. Again, like you said, if they're not firing on all cylinders, Donovan is carrying that team. And they're not going to get anywhere if you only got one guy like him carrying the team. The only man I've ever seen carry a team in my entire life is LeBron James.
I agree. Well, I mean, you could say Kobe, but I mean, that's a different subject for a different day.
Yeah.
Right. I would say that if they like, I've heard people say this too. If you were to move them up, I mean, if the Utah Jazz were to lose in the first or second round, and they say, yeah, it's time to break these two up, would you keep both, or would you keep both, or keep one or the other, or send both of them out? Personally, I'll answer it before you do. Actually, I actually want to see Donovan Mitchell back in New York, his hometown. I would like to see that. He plays on the big stage, and I think the Knicks, with all the talent and they have, and the free agency that's about to happen within the next year or so. Obviously, 2023 is the big free agency year. The Knicks could bring players in to help Donovan Mitchell. And then from the Rudy Gobert standpoint, I would like to see Rudy Gobert on two teams, either Dallas with Luka, because I think that could work very well, or Charlotte. You could possibly trade Gordon Hayward for Rudy Gobert. You probably would have to add some pieces onto that, and maybe some picks too. But Rudy Gobert anchoring that Hornets defense with LaMelo running the show wouldn't be bad at all.
That's interesting to think about. I think you have two elite playmakers in Dallas and in Charlotte. That Rudy sitting the dunker, you're gonna catch one. I mean, I think the Jazz, if they do give both up, you go full rebuild, trade the entire roster, don't bring anyone back. But I think just off the money you've paid both of them, you should keep one. If one goes, keep the other. You paid him too much to let him go. I think Donovan to New York. What do you think would it take? Are we talking a Julius Randle, Donovan Mitchell straight up trade?
Nah.
What do you see for that package in New York?
I think Donovan for Randle, you might have to give up quickly. I don't know if you saw that KOT4Q video where he rebuilt the Knicks, and I think he gave up like Randle quickly, and I think he gave up like either 2 first or first and a second or something like that. But a deal certainly like that where you can kind of pair RJ and Donovan together, and then maybe you're bad for like next year, but then when that 2023 offseason and free agency hits, you bring in a star guy. I think that could revitalize the Knicks and make them into a playoff team again, especially after the dismal year they've had this year. But Donovan, I don't think a Donovan for Julius Randle trade will work. But I mean, with all the rumors surrounding Julius, I mean, I don't know what to believe, because obviously, as a player, you're going to say, you're going to deny any rumor that is bad against you. But with his body language on the court, it just seems like the fans have kind of gotten to him and he doesn't want to be there.
I mean, New York is as tough as it gets to as a home crowd every night. You have to come out, you got to show out every single game. But yeah, definitely gonna take more than Julius Randle. I was just throwing it out there because I know he wants, or rumors are that he's out of there too.
Mhm.
Um, but I think New York definitely has the pieces to make a deal like this happen. Um, would it be worth giving up all that young depth that you have? Because I like the pieces that they have for Donovan Mitchell, and then bank on free agency like the 2023 free agency you were talking about, and bringing some guys in. Um, I guess we'll see. I mean, I feel like you ask any New York Knicks fan, they're going to say yes. They want every star that's available. Um, or I'm just joking around here, but Knicks fans, they want Zion or Donovan Mitchell. Which one's more realistic at this point? Um, I'd love to see him in New York. Actually, I think he's a big stage type of guy, and he'll show up every night. He's back in his hometown, home state, right?
Yep.
I mean, I'd love to see it. I can't really think of any other destination for him that I would think of.
I mean,
Yeah,
oh,
I would go.
no, I said, everyone throws the whole, oh yeah, Miami. So that's the
Oh,
only that's really the only destination I've heard outside of like New York. But it's like Miami, Miami's old. They're not taking Jimmy Butler. You'd have to give up Hero and obviously some other pieces. So like in order for that to work, you're giving up a lot of the core. But I mean, I think New York it would be a better fit.
yeah, that's funny you said that. Everyone is photoshopped in the Heat jersey. It's like how the Laker fans have the next available free agent in a Laker jersey. Just the Lakers actually get or make trades like that, and the Heat haven't really done that other than the Heatles and Big Three and everything like that. But definitely New York. Rudy, couldn't tell you. I have no idea where he might end up or where I want him to even end up. I'm sure I'll go with Dallas. But in my head, in a perfect world, I see Luka Doncic playing with Nikola Jokic. Um, that's my dream. That would be so crazy, right?
That would be
Right?
the
As
year.
NBA fans, I think we all want that to happen.
I don't know. Like some NBA fans on Twitter, they don't like the European players taking over. So I mean, we'll see. I mean, personally, I was talking with my roommate and I was telling them like, in order to watch like Nikola Jokic, you have to have a pure basketball mind because as I said, he's not like the flashiest player, but he just does stuff that is like it blows your mind that a 7-footer can do all of this. Sort of like not sort of like Tim Duncan, because Tim Duncan obviously wasn't the flashiest guy either. But like Nikola Jokic, it's not like he's tween step back three. Like the man is giving you post moves, giving you dimes, like all of that. So I mean, you have to take sort of your biases of like the modern NBA away and just watch it for who he is.
I think you just have to appreciate things because um, I don't know. I get like riled up about that type of stuff. Like in my head, that's quote unquote flashy. Just like, yeah, he's not tween crossing nobody, but top of the key, no look, whoops, one hand passes from above his head. Like that counts to me because I'm like, no one else can make that play. No one else in the NBA can make that play. Only he can, and that's the way I see it. Like he's doing stuff that no one else can do. I don't know how people can hate on him. He's so good.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can transition into do you want to talk about the other LA team or as Charles Barkley calls them, the other Southern California team?
Sure, sure. The one time a year I'll do it because this is the last time we'll talk about him this season. Um, Yeah, got eliminated from playoff contention. You know, it's a big thing. Um, I don't really like the way the social media platforms like a Bleacher Report, House of Highlights, and all of them kind of posted that like when it happened. Yes, it's breaking news and it's the Lakers and everything, but even like Devin Booker commented like, "You're gonna post this, but why didn't you post Suns getting franchise record 63
Hmm.
wins?
Hmm.
Like you're gonna post LeBron on the sideline who did not suit up that they got eliminated." Um, and then you highlight the 63 wins later, saying like today, you see things like Chris Paul took all four franchises to um, franchise record wins. When I think that should have been highlighted the first time. I don't know. I think again the Lakers. This is why I don't like talking about them because they get so much media attention where someone a team like the Suns, number one team in the league, but doesn't get as much media attention as the Lakers, who just got eliminated from the playoffs. Um, but yeah, I think AD. There was a quote from AD that was like, "We've had more lineups than wins this season."
Hmm.
I think ESPN put out that quote or something, but that's kind of like I feel like when he said that he was taking a stab at like we just been injured so many times and just couldn't figure out how to win. And that I don't know, I feel kind of good when he says that because it's like, okay, but what happened to the Clippers? Talking about injuries, you haven't had your two stars almost like the majority of the season, but we clinched the eight, like, and no one even thought we were gonna do that. So I mean, you can't really say it's injuries. Just at this point, admit the roster was not good. They did not play well at all. You could tell body language, eye test that they don't want it as bad as other teams. They take plays off, which of course every team takes plays off, but it's like every game, just the same thing over and over again the entire season with that team. The only thing that brought them wins was LeBron James coming for his legacy. So I don't know. What do you have to say about the Lakers at this point?
Uh, Personally, if we're to start off, they should just rest AD for the rest of the season. I mean, it's even weird. Before we even started tonight, I got a notification saying that Russ is questionable for no Russ. I think Russ is on the injury report. I don't know if he's questionable or not. And then LeBron is questionable, which begs the question, because there was a post on Instagram that circulated of the late of a fan saying Kobe would have played tonight, and I love LeBron, but like if he was really going to mail in the season, why is he questionable for tomorrow's game against the Warriors? Because in my opinion, I've kind of done the calculations. Obviously, he needs to play two more games to be eligible for the scoring title, because that would mean he played 50%. Um, but in both of those games that he would play, he would need to score at least 40 plus at least, because Joel Embiid put up 44 last night. So at least 40 points in both games in order to at least maybe tie Joel or at least be close, depending on what Joel does. But I find it very interesting. I very intriguing that he is questionable tomorrow, but couldn't play in a game that really would have decided the Lakers' playoff chances. And also, uh, I find it very interesting. I mean, obviously, as we know, Russ has been sort of the scapegoat, quote unquote, for why the Lakers have been playing bad. But I mean, even though the expectations were set upon him, you kind of noticed over the last 10 games, like when the expectations really weren't there, he played really well, which begs the question, like if obviously the expectations are going to be with this team regardless. I mean, their ESPN was literally saying, is this a 70-win team? Which obviously I didn't think so, just based off the roster. um but if Russell Westbrook didn't have all of the expectations, and I mean, even the fans, even some fans were, and his fans and Laker fans in general were holding him to this standard that like he has to put up like 20 and 10, right? But even 18, 8 and 8, I think he was averaging 18, 8 and 8 was still pissing them off, even though, yeah, he shot bad. Like, I'm not going to give him a pass for that. Your free throw percentage is terrible compared to what it was like 8 years ago. And we know you're not the best 3-point shooter, but how has your mid-range shot sort of decreased over the last few years? And I think Kenny on on the Through the Wire pod, he mentioned that it might be the yips. He might have had the yips this season, which isn't what's the word I'm looking for? It's not out of the ordinary that it would happen, but I could see it, especially after all the backlash and the pressure he was facing. He probably just had like he just forgot. I don't want to say forgot how to play, but it's just one of those things where the pressure sort of got to him, and then all that stress of everything that's happening on social media got to him. I mean, you kind of saw it with PG back in the bubble with when he missed all those shots in the bubble, and then that cultivated with the shot off the backboard, which he became famous for, and even he himself on the on Serge Ibaka's YouTube page when they did the video together, he said like that got to him, and I could see where all of the backlash in social media, even though you try not to look at it as much as an athlete, it just sticks with you. And so, I mean, with all that being said, I do think the Westbrook LeBron AD thing could work. Obviously, injuries played a part in the season, as you said. Like the whole injury excuse thing shouldn't even be said when we haven't even had our two best players, and we are an 8 seed beating on the Suns right now, but the Suns are literally resting everyone, so I'm not surprised. But I even said this when PG came back, the fact that we're an 8 seed and PG missed 50 games just goes to show you, like, if PG doesn't get that injury where he misses 3 months, we're probably looking at a top 3 seed. Or not top 3, but in between the three and the first play-in spot, let's just say.
That I don't think that's far off to say at all. I mean, he's one of those guys, all-star, all NBA caliber player, and missing him for a part of the season is huge. And yeah, I think we definitely would have been at least. I would like to think out of the play-in spot, like just over 7. But yeah, I think going back to the whole Westbrook thing, I think playing in LA is not for everyone. I think expectations are sky high and they never end. People just want a championship tomorrow out of you, playing in LA. And I think Westbrook playing not in the media attention, yeah, I don't know, because yeah, he had a bad year regardless, from his recent years, but maybe it could help him. Like he had a great season in Washington, I think. A very underrated season that will probably go forgotten because it was like a 1-year rental type situation. But yeah, playing somewhere else to change the scenery might be good for him if he still comes out not looking the best next season, and he wants to go down in his career swinging, because I know he's getting up there in age. What is he, like 33, 4?
Yeah,
No, it can't be
30.
34, 33, 32, 33.
No, he came out the year before Curry, and Curry just turned, I think, 33, so he's got to be 34.
34. Well, that's a different story. But regardless, he's getting up there in age. And I know you wanted to talk about if Westbrook, chances of him becoming a Clipper, and thoughts on that. Because I think it's long overdue that the Clippers have, I don't want to say been needing, I guess you could say been needing, but you know, everything circulating in Clipper talk that we need a point guard and a facilitating point guard at that. That's the missing link to this whole thing. In the past couple of years, we haven't had the greatest of playmakers. We had Pat Bev and Reggie, where Reggie's been great, but he's not as much as a facilitator as you would like to think. And yeah, thoughts on Westbrook maybe becoming a Clipper.
Well, I mean, I put that topic in the discussion, but I was doing a little bit of thinking. And obviously, the first thing that has to happen is he has to take his player option with the Lakers, or he could decline it. I mean, I've seen rumors saying that he might decline. He might decline the player option or he might accept the player
That
option.
might be
Go ahead.
that might be the first time we see someone decline a 40 million plus player option, which is crazy.
Like it's hard to say he would decline it because that is a lot of money on the table. But like, even if he were to accept it, the first thing, if the Clippers really were quote unquote going to go after him per se, the first thing they would ask him to do is shave at least 20 million off of that deal. Because obviously 47 million is a lot. And if it's not a buyout and it's a trade, I personally say, just based off of the offseason moves we can make, I hate to say it because he's played well this year at times. I feel like you could get rid of Marcus Morris, and especially if we bring back Rocco and Batum and maybe a guy like Amir Coffey, you bring them back, and then you fill Russ with, you trade Marcus Morris, you might have to give someone else up, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like Terrence Mann or PG. They're not finessing PG or Kawhi from us. But they would need the scoring at the four per se, especially. I mean, I hate the whole AD playing the five thing, even though like he does need to at times, but I don't think he should just like generally play the five. But going back to the Russell Westbrook thing, if we are going to trade Marcus Morris and maybe a few other pieces for Russ obviously would have to shave half that player option contract money off. And personally, all I would be asking for from him, I mean, he can still he can still put up 20, 10, and 10. Like, it's not, what we would need him to do is literally just like, he could still be a ball handler at times, but your main job is to just facilitate. You can score, and I mean, I honestly think with the personnel that we would have on the floor, I think like the floor would open up a lot more for him because you can't leave guys like Kawhi and PG open. But his main job would be just to facilitate. I mean, score if you have mismatches and stuff like that. But like, main job is to just facilitate. I think it could work out. Uh, Even if we were to get him and still lose a little bit of pieces, I mean, we still have G League players that are still stepping up. I mean, I don't even think we've seen Brandon Boston Jr. play late this season. So I mean, that's still another player that you can still have off the bench if you're the Clippers. So I mean, if we really were thinking about bringing Westbrook in, it wouldn't be necessarily the worst thing because I think it could work. But that's just my thoughts on it. I honestly, that was just something I've been thinking about over the last few weeks with the whole Lakers situation going down, and I think it could work.
I mean, I think it's an interesting thing just to think about in general. I mean, in a perfect world, he declines to get him on the vet minimum, he comes to us, right? But yeah, I think if a trade would go down, yeah, I'm thinking Mook would be gone. I think just for the monstrosity that is his contract, you would have to throw in Luke, which I hate because Luke has been so good for us this season. And if you get a guy like Westbrook, you're going to need a guy like Luke uh, on your roster with him spacing the floor. Um, but yeah, I honestly don't think it'd be bad at all. I think yeah, his job is to facilitate, but I think more than that, your one job is just give PG and Kawhi the ball in the clutch, play the game that you play, just make good decisions, which I don't think Westbrook has had a problem with that in his career, just giving up the ball. I mean, OKC, he was the guy once Durant and Harden left, and then even in Washington, him and Beal played off each other pretty well, if I say so myself. I like that pairing, watching them, and they put up some crazy numbers together. So that's why I don't see that there'd be an issue with that. He takes advantages of mismatches pretty well, I think. Yeah, I've had talks with you for a while now because I kind of when John Wall was sitting, I kind of wanted John Wall in the Clippers. I mean, I love John Wall um, ever since I don't know he came to the league and I started watching him like that. And that's the type of guy that the Clippers would want, a facilitator guy, a solid scorer. I mean, Westbrook and John Wall aren't super far apart from each other. Like at this point of their career, I don't think. Um, so yeah, I mean, even aside from Westbrook, I love if John Wall, the same thing happens with John
Mhm.
Wall. So who would you rather have? I don't even know. We haven't seen John Wall play, but I wouldn't assume he's far off from Westbrook. So yeah, I think Clippers making a move like that um, is definitely good. And I think Amir Coffey that you brought up earlier, I think he's been a highlight this season, kind of stepping up as a solid role player for us makes bringing in someone like that a lot easier, whether we give him up and people see his value, or he takes a step bringing up if we give up role players in a deal for uh, some guy like that. Um, I think is huge. I think Amir Coffey's been again great for us this season, a bright spot, and it'll be interesting to see what the Lakers do in the off season this season. This season. Um, and the Clippers too, for that fact. I think the offseason, I don't think free agency is, I mean, the free agency class is not the greatest uh, this year. So I think the trade market's going to be, I don't want to say hot, but it'll be interesting to watch as that unfolds.
Yeah. Speaking of that, what the Lakers would do. Obviously, Legend of Winning has like been really pushing this whole trade LeBron, trade AD, trade basically the roster so that you can pick draft picks and draft capital. And like it sounds very crazy, but like when you really look at it, it's like if you don't win another championship and like everything goes bad, like Braun stays or ends up leaving, AD stays but ends up leaving, even if AD stays, like he's already shown he's super injury prone. Like I don't think you want that as like your number one option. But like if those two scenarios happen, like it's you're really left with nothing. And even though they took I don't want to say the bait because that's not the word to use, but they took the risk, I should say, thinking that THT was going to pan out to be this Kyle Kuzma-esque, not in terms of like shooting ability and all that, but just in terms of progress and improvement. They thought he would be a 15 point per game scorer, and like he's just not that guy. And I kind of feel bad for him because, like I even said, going back to last year, they should have made the trade for Kyle Lowry because I think he needed to be on his own team where he could develop his game and not be under the pressure and the spotlight. And like I just feel that the Lakers, like, yes, the whole trade LeBron thing seems out of the ordinary, right? But LeBron is aging and he's missing games at a very constant rate. I mean, yes, he's still dropping 30, don't get me wrong, but you can tell the defensive side of the ball, he's not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Not as, and it's not active. The word I'm looking for is not active, engaged. There we go. He's not engaged on the defensive side of the ball as he was probably what 2-3 years ago. I mean, yes, he still gives us our chase down, our regular chase down blocks. But in terms of just playing half court defense, he's not engaged as much as on the defensive end as he once was.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, the women's NCAA March Madness thought came back to me.
Oh, okay.
It was just that Kristen Williams has had a tough last couple years
Mhm.
in the tournament and did not look the greatest in both games that they lost this year and last year. But it hit me. I had to say it. But yeah, I think those two stay, which is the most probable situation for next season. I think you have to give it a shot at being in contention. You have to. Again, like you said, LeBron's aging, doesn't play many games. AD, you don't know what you're going to get out of him, but you have to make a try with guys of that caliber on your team. Interesting to think. I really want LeBron to play with Bronny, just for the history of the NBA. I really want that to happen. So I don't want him to be traded, and I don't want him to retire, because I really want to see that happen. And AD, yeah, I think you get a healthy season out of AD, and he's back to being in his, I don't know, his prime or whatever you want to call it. Just you're gonna get like the AD we all know and love back. But is he the greatest locker room guy because of that? Not too sure. I think that's also, majority. There's a lot of reasons why the Lakers weren't good this season, but I think locker room, just in general, was another one because I think you have three big egos on that team, uh, which is hard to do. And I think AD, I think all of AD's, I guess, down years or down times, there's always been something that kind of like a scapegoat kind of say, just like an excuse for him why he's not good, or like his injuries have been used for one, but it's like just go out and play type of situation. I still do think if you get a healthy season out of AD, he could be a one option on a contending team. I mean, even in New Orleans, I mean, different style, different game we're talking about, but I mean, he could have led that team. I'm not saying to a championship, but deep in the playoffs. He just unlucky with matchups and everything. But yeah, very exciting stuff to see what the Lakers are going to do and everything. I hope Melo doesn't retire. I don't think I'm ready to see Melo go yet.
I don't. Oh God.
No, you go. You go.
Nah, I was just gonna say I don't think Melo's retiring, to be honest. If anything, he runs it back with the Lakers, or I've heard rumors of him going back to Denver, which honestly I don't think wouldn't be the worst thing because I mean they already have a guy like Jeff Green who is already a journeyman in the league as is. So even if you yeah, you might be losing stuff on the defensive end with if you bring in Carmelo, but if you're somehow able to bring both in, if you're able to somehow bring Jeff Green back for another season and bring in Melo, like I feel like Denver would be a very good contending team.
I mean, Jokic has proven to just make everyone around him better. So maybe Melo goes back to former Nuggets Melo. Imagine that man and Jokic playing again.
That would be interesting. I don't think the fans would really hate him as much.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
uh I guess we
Do we have
can.
this? Do we have this Sporkle game?
Yeah, we actually do. You wanna break down how this goes?
Well, yeah, just to start it off, I think um the whole reason me and George kind of started this whole podcast, or just a thought of having a podcast, and just the root, our roots of us talking sports is playing sporcle quizzes, and just I don't know, like just random NBA trivia type things that me and him enjoy. And I think me and him are the only one, well, not the only ones, because there's a lot of people out there that know a lot more than we do about basketball. But just like just in high school and around the people we were around, we were the only ones that knew uh I guess little trivia things like this as well as we do. And I think we enjoy it. So we're gonna try to incorporate whether it's Podal, whether it's Sporkle, whether it's something else we come up with, we're going to try to bring that side of us, because something that we enjoy, to the pod too. So here, the game we have, what do we have up? It's like the leading, yeah. Can you name the NBA playoff per game stat leaders on each championship team from the 1980s through the 2010s? This might be tough. I think it helps that we have every championship team, like
and
the champion.
and stat too, because stat is going to be
Yeah,
important. Because I feel like
100%.
that's going to help us out a lot, just because like we already know, like based off of our basketball knowledge, we already know like who most of
Position
these.
wise.
Yeah. All right. So you
Right.
ready?
I guess so. Where we started from 2010 or from 1980?
Let's actually work our. Can I? Oh, I might have to. There we go.
Oh, we got a lot of teams here.
Yeah. I'm actually put my mic like this. All right.
I'm looking at this. I think we can get the 2010s pretty smoothly.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
2000s pretty smoothly.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. So let's start from Toronto. We got Kawhi.
Kawhi, 100%.
Oh, Leonard. Let me go back. Leonard. All right. Assist. We probably got
There it
Lowry.
is. Yeah.
Blocks. Gasol.
Block Surge.
That's good.
Gasol.
The Warriors, obviously. Durant. Rebounds. What you say, Draymond?
Sure, go for it.
Oh, Green. Oh wow.
Oh,
Led everything.
wow.
So
Look at Draymond. Give him the finals MVP.
you probably
Assists would go with Curry.
Hey, Warriors done.
There it is.
Well, we could
Yep.
let's do 2015. Let's finish 2015. Blocks would probably be Bogut.
Yeah, that would
There
be
you
my
go.
guess. There it is.
LeBron.
LeBron for every category. James, we'll see how many times his name pops up. There it is. Let's just finish the Miami teams. Yeah. Blocks. What we got? Chris Bosh, maybe?
Bosh. Wade has to be. Oh, well, Wade for 2006.
Wade led them in blocks.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, he did lead them in blocks in 2012.
All right, 14.
14 Spurs. Duncan.
He
has to get rebounds. No.
Assist Parker.
He might lead them in scoring too. There it is.
All right, 2011 Dallas Mavericks. Dirk
Nowitzki. Good luck spelling that one.
Ski. There we go. Rebounds.
Tyson Chandler.
Rebounds. Good. I was like, who's the center on that team? Kidd for assists.
Jason Kidd.
And steals.
Blocks is not Tyson Chandler. It's not
Marion?
That'd be my guess too.
Nope. We'll move on. We'll come back to that. Points, Bryant, Kobe.
The next center that comes off to my head is Brendan Hayward. Hayward?
Oh, wow.
What a guy. Let's go.
Good stuff. Steals for the Lakers. Would you say Artest? Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
There it is.
Celtics. Pierce.
You got Pierce. Rondo assist. 100%. Put KG.
No.
KG Garnett,
Okay. Rondo
Rondo, blocks. It's not
Davis?
KG.
Nope.
No way, it's Kendrick Perkins.
Perkins.
No way, it's Perk.
All right.
Steals and
07
7.
Spurs. Ginobili. I knew that one, so that's why I helped you.
There it is.
Rebounds. O'Neal, who should pop up for a lot of these.
Yep,
All
there
right.
it is.
All right.
4
Pistons.
Pistons.
Billups probably for
I was
scoring.
gonna say.
Oh no.
Hamilton.
Yep. Okay, there's my name.
Whoa, wow.
Wallace. Yep. Big Ben.
Ben.
Oh, filled out the
Oh,
rest.
there it is.
All right. 02
Uh,
Lakers. Steals.
Lakers steals.
Would you say Ori or Fox? Or Fisher?
Go with Fox.
All right, there's
Try 'em
steals.
all. Oh, there's one. Maybe
Ori.
Fisher.
There we go. Got
Never
both.
mind.
All right,
99.
Rebounds for this 99 Spurs. Robinson?
Yeah, that would be my guess.
And who was their point
Interesting.
guard? We'll move on. Jordan.
Yeah. He's gonna pop up a lot.
Rebounds. Rodman. Assists.
Pip.
Would we go? Okay, good point. Because I was gonna say Harper first, but Pippen.
There you go.
Blocks in the 96
blocks.
season.
Who's their big? No, I don't even know who their big was in 96.
Grant? There we go.
Oh, good call. Good call.
Houston, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Should be there for a good
Olajuwon. There we go.
Wow,
assist.
Carried that.
Yeah. Assist has to be nope, not Kenny Smith. Who else was on that team? Oh.
Was Clyde on that team?
I was about to say, I don't think he came there. Oh, yeah. 95. Okay.
Oh, there it is.
What are we on?
Detroit?
Pistons.
We got Detroit.
Thomas, IT. Would you
Lambeer?
say how'd you spell Lambeer?
MB, I think IER.
There
Oh
we
yeah,
go.
like that. There it is.
Blocks.
Blocks. Damn.
Nope, not Rick Mahorn. 90. Oh, Dumars has to be. Nope. Wow. Okay,
blocks, not block. Okay, go to the Lakers.
Yeah. Kareem? Oh, Abdul Jabbar. What am I doing? I hate that because I'm so used to putting the first name.
Magic.
Magic Johnson.
Johnson. There it is.
Who else?
James
Byron
Worthy?
Scott. Worthy. All right.
Team. There it is.
86 Boston.
86.
You have Bird.
Oh, good call.
Probably Dennis. Nope, not Dennis Johnson.
Ron Johnson.
McHale. Yeah, for blocks.
Was
and
Robert Parrish on
Parrish.
1R.
There we go. Steals.
Assists.
Ainge for steals. Got it.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Philadelphia Sixers. You have Irving. You have Moses Malone.
I was gonna say Malone on that one. Who
assist. Oh, is it snap. Is it Cheeks? There we go. Got it.
Oh, whoa.
All right. 82 Lakers. 82 Lakers.
I can't even see that. What is that?
I can bring it up actually.
Points. Now. Kareem points. Damn.
Well, we have 3 minutes, so we're actually good on time. Assist for the 81 Celtics. 81 Celtics. Who's on that team? Yeah.
Dude, who's their guards on that team?
Guards for the 81 Celtics. Ainge, Johnson. No, Ainge, I don't think is on that team. I'm gonna try it. Nope. Okay, it's not Johnson. Oh wow, it would have popped up anyway. 82 Lakers.
Okay, hold on. Go down. Are we missing anything else other than this top row?
We're missing the 96 Bulls blocks leader. That's it. That's where we start off at.
96? Was Kukoc on that team?
Yes. but it's not him. Oh,
but not black.
Cartwright.
Cartwright.
I feel like I'm spelling that wrong. Cartwright. Nope. Uh what was the other center? Not Bill Winnington. Let me just try it just in case. No. Winnington. No.
I know who you're talking about. I could see his face.
Detroit
I could see his
Pistons.
face. I know who you're talking about. Oh my god.
Who was the other points for the Lakers that I'm missing? Oh,
82?
no, it's not Michael Cooper.
Norm Nixon?
I think Nick. Oh, yep, good point.
Oh, let's go, our guy, Norm Nixon.
All right.
Norman.
All right. So we have assist. We'll skip assist. Who else was on those Piston teams? You have Lambeer. Who was the power forward? Not. I know it's not Daughtery, but it was Lambeer and someone else. And I know it's gonna hit me once this timer goes off. 96 Bulls blocks leader. Who was on that Bulls team? You have Harper.
Oh my god, I forget his name. If his name comes up, I'm gonna be so mad. Oh my god, I know it. We're missing 4, 1, 2, 3. Where's the fourth one?
Celtics, 83.
Oh,
Or 81, my bad. 81 Celtics, the assist leader, but I don't know who that is off the top of my head. We're missing blocks, and we're missing blocks for 3 teams. Once we know the names will literally come back to me when the names
no, it
pop
will
up.
too. The Bulls one, I can for sure see his face if this is the guy I'm talking about. If not, I'm gonna look it up after because I have no idea.
Let's see. Luke Longley.
Luke Longley, that's his name. I saw his face.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So
George,
we missed Luke Longley. We missed John Sally. I couldn't think of the person's name. I was like, I don't think it's a center, and I know it's a wing player. So we missed that. And then
Tiny
Nate,
Archibald.
yeah. But I mean, not bad. 98%. But we could have had it.
Man, that was kind of tough towards the end.
It was, man. I mean, honestly, we're going to do a lot more of those in the future, give ourselves a challenge, see how much basketball knowledge we actually know. But that'll do it for the end of the podcast. You have anything else you want to say before we close out?
Anything else? Give my man CP some credit. He's a winner. You don't need a championship to prove that. All I gotta say.
I know Jalen Rose almost pissed me off tonight by saying CP3 was a top 10, what was barely a top 10 point guard. I almost lost it. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, that'll do it for this episode of the 4-Out-1 In podcast. I'm your host, George Hamilton III.
Carlos Costas.
And we're signing off.